Yo, and welcome back to the Relationship School Smart Couple podcast. I'm your host, Jayson Gaddis, and I'm here to embrace conflict with you in our three-part series. This is part 2 of 3 on how to embrace and resolve conflict. Okay? In our last episode, we talked about 10 rules or agreements you could have in place before you get into conflict. Everything from setting the right context and saying yes to conflict, not blaming, having some tools, going vulnerable, etc. So go back and listen to the last episode, the one right before this, if you haven't listened to that already. Okay, this is part 2 of a 3-part series. And I'm on a mission, as you know, to help human beings do relationship and love really well. And in order to do that, we need to learn how to work out our differences because we're going to have differences, guaranteed 100%. And you may as well then, if that's true, get the tools and the skills and get educated about how to deal with adversity when it comes up in a friendship, a family relationship, or an intimate partnership. Okay? And if you want to learn this more effectively, come to Boulder, Colorado in person November 9th, 10th, and 11th, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, here in downtown Boulder, Colorado, where we're going to learn how to embrace conflict. Go to relationshipschool.net/embracing conflict. And at the end of the episode here, I'll give you a coupon code if you haven't already signed up yet. You can bring a friend also for half price, and then this coupon code will save you $100 on top of that. All right. So last time we talked about before conflict. You guys need to sit down and hash it out, make some agreements. Now we're in a fight. We've had a rupture. It's happening right now, let's say. What do you do? All right, I'm going to keep this really simple and tell you 2 things to do. Okay, there's stop what you're doing and listen to the other person. Or stop what you're doing and speak from a vulnerable place. Okay, those are 2 things during your next fight that I want you to do. And fight, remember, can be distance and silence. So you're going to stop, drop, feel, deal, and get real. That's another way of saying stop. Is stop and go inside and check in, like what in the hell is going on? All right, just stop. And my favorite way of stopping is to call a timeout using the hand signal for timeout. That's T. It looks like a letter T. Timeout. And I like to put it in front of the other person's face or my own face. Whoa. Timeout. Timeout, honey. Hang on. 1 second. I need to stop. You're not telling them to stop. You're saying, I need to stop. Okay, we don't want to shut the other person down. Just say, whoa, timeout. I need to stop. I need to take a break. Okay, once you've done that, you can take a few deep breaths and then go into listening mode and just be like, coach yourself and say, all right, this is going nowhere. I'm going to listen until the other person feels understood. And that's my commitment right now. I might even say that. But either way, I'm just going to listen until they feel understood. And I'm going to track them. I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen with my body, my heart, my mind, and because I really want to understand what it's like to be them. Okay, this goes a long way, especially if you can do it under stress. If not, you save it for the next stage after conflict, which we'll go over in the next episode. So right now, during the fight, in the middle of it, the disagreement, stop, go inside, take a breath, and begin, reset, basically, and begin to listen. Okay, that's one option. The second option is for you to stop, drop, deal, feel, and get real. Same thing. Call a timeout if you need one. Timeout, whoa, I need a timeout. Hang on, I need to stop. Take a few big breaths into that tender heart, that fearful body, right? You're a little animal right now, or a big animal. Take another breath. And then try to, if they're willing to listen and you're the more talkative one, try to speak from a place of vulnerability and keeping it under 1 minute long. Okay, you can't talk for more than a minute. Nope. 1 minute or less. And I would go 30 seconds or less. And I like to use 1 sentence or less. So 1 sentence is a sharing impact statement. Okay. My friend Josh and I covered this in an episode, I think 50 something, sharing impact. That whole episode was devoted to sharing impact. And it's a tool we teach here at the Relationship School. And sharing impact is 1 sentence. Honey, when you raise your voice, I feel scared. Honey, when you slam the door, I felt scared. Honey, when you turn your back while I'm talking to you, I feel hurt and angry. That's it. That's really all you need to share from a place of vulnerability. The vulnerable part is revealing what's actually going on underneath your fear and your anger, which is usually hurt or fear. Just, I'm scared and I'm hurt. I feel missed. I feel not seen here. Okay? Or honey, right now, I'm not feeling seen. Right now, I'm feeling really angry. And try to go below that if you want to be even more vulnerable. Honey, I'm really hurt and I feel angry on top of that. Okay, let's review. So you're going to stop and either listen or you're going to stop and speak an impact statement from a place of vulnerability. This is in the middle of some kind of snag, right? It could be highly activated, could be quiet and silent and kind of shut down. It could be something in the middle. Either way, this is a way to deal with conflict in the moment. In the moment. Now, obviously, there's more to it, but this is an amazing start. If you're used to just running your mouth or completely going silent and punishing your partner, either unintentionally or intentionally, whatever it is, this is a different path. And this is going to lead to the next step after, which is the repair. We'll get into that in the next episode. It's going to help with the repair so much more if you can do one or both of these steps, all right? Stop, drop, deal, feel, and get real with yourself and either listen or speak an impact statement from a place of vulnerability. And remember, you're going to listen, not waiting your turn, but you're going to listen until they feel understood. You're going to completely set aside your agenda. You know, how noble is that? See if you can do that. Super powerful. Okay, and again, if you want a deeper dive, you come to the Embracing Conflict weekend here in Boulder, relationshipschool.net/embracing conflict. And if you want the $100 off, the Bring a Friend deal, you enter the coupon code Smart Couple, okay, to save $100. Let me say one final thing before we stop today. And usually people are fighting about one of 3 things. It's the 3 types of fights, I call it. It's either a surface fight, an everyday snag, disagreement about, the finances or the dishes or who's picking up the kids or, it's some kind of surface fight. It doesn't seem to have a lot of emotional charge. Like, wow, we're really fighting over that? Those are the silly little fights that turn into big ones. And it turns into a big one because it's got another layer underneath, which is the second type of fight, and that's a resentment fight. This comes out sideways usually because people are very indirect about their resentments. It comes out as like the 5th time something has been done, you finally snap or you lose it. That's because you've been bottling it up and not saying anything. That's a resentment. A resentment is also when you have an expectation that you have on your partner that's usually unrealistic, something they can't do, and they're not doing it. It's also you not speaking up or setting a boundary also leads to resentment. And these are a little deeper and more entangled for people and harder to get to in terms of resolution. But they're going on all the time in relationships because people think they need to compromise who they are to be in a relationship with another person. That's another way a resentment is born. And then the third type, and often the hardest to deal with, is a security fight. And a security fight usually arises out of one person has 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Another person is making threats to leave the relationship. These rock and question the security and the foundation of the relationship itself. And before Ellen and I got married, pretty much all our fights were security fights, but they looked like either resentment or surface fights. But really, upon closer investigation, they were security fights because I had 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I wasn't 2 feet in yet. And so any fight we got into, it would come down to, are you here with me or not? Do I want to be here or not? Am I feeling trapped? Yes. So I better have 1 foot in, 1 foot out in case I get engulfed. And depending on where you sit on your attachment style, that's going to be challenging for you. So security fight is really important to deal with. And these are harder to deal with if you're newly dating someone because the security hasn't been established yet. In a longer term relationship, once the security is dealt with, you don't have security fights anymore. You might, the animal inside you might get a little activated about, hey, you're going quiet on me, and that reminds me of my childhood home. But usually they're not threatening the relationship. That's not at stake anymore. All right? Okay, I just wanted to toss that in so that you and your future partner or current partner can be like, yeah, what are we really fighting about at the end of the day? Because when you go into a fight, you can kind of notice, you can start to notice, oh, this is that resentment thing. Oh, this is security, Okay, in the next episode, we're going to cover the repair, which is the after. Repair needs to start as soon as possible. Sometimes it can bleed right into the process we're talking about. It's during the fight, one of you just calls a timeout and begins to repair. Oops, honey, I fucked up. What I meant was my bad. I'm going to teach you just some simple ways on how to clean up whatever mess you created or whatever rupture that you currently have, okay? All right, cool. And why don't you come join us here in Boulder, Colorado? It's going to be a rockin' good time. How about finally learning how to do conflict? Okay, if you're not sure about, say, the deep psychology of intimate relationships, 9-month course, you can't make a $6,000 commitment, then come bite off something a lot more doable here in Boulder and learn the very initial steps of dealing with conflict, something that's never going to go away the rest of your life. You may as well embrace it and learn to resolve it, okay? So come hang with us in Boulder, relationshipschool.net/embracing conflict. And remember to use that coupon code SMARTCouple because we'd love to see Smart Couple podcast listeners in attendance. All right. Thanks, guys.
I feel inspired. I feel confident. I feel smarter to be able to go deeper into our relationship.
I feel awesome. I feel like I've been through a little boot camp this weekend, and I feel strong and empowered and very much in love. I feel connected.